What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Pilots Club, a podcast all about the first episodes of television shows and the many reasons why they may or may not be worth a watch. Every month, we pick a different pilot episode to watch and then discuss it here on our show. We release these episodes first and foremost to our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/the Whatnauts on our $3 tier and above. And then 2 years later, we release these episodes to a wider audience on a public feed. So if you want to catch up on 2 years worth of episodes, patreon.com/the Whatnauts is the place to do that. When we first made the Pilots Club, it was a little rough around the edges, so we wanted to polish it up a bit and repackage it, so to speak, with this new intro. And eventually you will stop hearing me doing this pre-recorded intro, and I will just start saying it as we record each episode. But until then and beyond, please enjoy the show and what it grows into. Welcome back to our Pilots Club. First of all, thank you for supporting us on Patreon. It means a lot.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoy our Pilots Club idea. I think it's been a success, at least for us. It's been really fun to make and come up with, like, ooh, what could we do next time? What could we do after this? So yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. This month on the Pilots Club, we're talking about the unaired Wonder Woman pilot from 2011. I did real quick introductions. I'm Kyle. That's Melissa. Hopefully you guys know us if you're already supporting us on Patreon. But yes, I think this one will be a lot of fun. So Melissa.
Yes.
How much did you know of this pilot, or had you seen like pictures or anything from this? Were you aware of this pilot?
I recalled the existence of it, the rumors of it. I think I remember reading about it, perhaps in a print edition of TV Guide back in the day.
Ooh.
I was aware of the legend of the thing, but no, I don't think I'd ever seen more than like a promo image for it.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, I had heard of this back closer to when it was created. I remember at one point downloading it and watching it. This was back when I was more into making music. I had made a Disney and Pixar beat tape. I had made a Toonami beat tape. And then I thought my next one after that was going to be a superhero beat tape. So I was like rewatching a bunch of like Spider-Man cartoons, X-Men cartoons, Wonder Woman movies, and all that stuff, and taking notes on all of the things. And so, yeah, I went to go look for like more obscure things like this. Like, is there something in here that I can sample, some like little vocal clip or something that I can put in there? And yeah, it like, there's always those things of like, you hear it's bad. And you're not sure, like, is this like internet hype of like, it's so bad, it's the worst thing ever? Do I really believe that? And then there's the things of that you hear it's bad and you're just like, oh yeah, this is bad. And that's what I think this pilot is. It
is the most baffling take on what Wonder Woman could be. In this world, she is Wonder Woman, and she is Diana Themyscira, head of Themyscira Industries. And I don't know what they did before. I don't know what they started out doing. But now she publicly is Wonder Woman. And her company, like, supports her. Like, she fights crime using Themyscira Industries tech. And she sells action figures. Like, purposefully markets herself as a toyetic hero so that they can make money from the toys and use that to fund the crime-fighting tech in this, like, circle. But then also, she's like, I wish I just had a normal life. So she's an additional identity where she is Diana Prince, a lady who's trying to live a normal life and has, like, a normal apartment with a cat.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so baffling. Like, I think a lot of especially DC Comics, like superhero TV shows, has, I don't even know what you call it, like Batman syndrome, where they try and make everything more like Batman because that is their gold mine. That is their comic that has sold the most for multiple decades on end. It used to be Superman way back in the day, but Batman has surpassed him by quite a large margin, and is their most popular character, right? So you saw the same thing with the Arrow television show, which I overall ended up really liking a lot. But season 1, man, is they were just like, hey, what if it's Green Arrow, but it's actually Batman? Like,
right.
It's just Batman. And in a similar way, I feel like this is almost the same thing of like, what if Wonder Woman, but actually Batman?
Right.
But it's in a weird way, like a more lighthearted Batman, Bruce Wayne. It's really strange. And I like Wonder Woman has gotten into business stuff in the comics in the past. Like, it's not that far off. It's just a strange take, though, the way they do this whole thing here.
Yeah,
but yeah,
she has 3 identities, and I feel like you can pick 2. It's like if Tony Stark was publicly Tony Stark and publicly Iron Man, but then he was also like, but what if I was just Tony Stonk and I just had a house in the suburbs?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So basic plot of this pilot, she Wonder Woman has been Wonder Woman for some time.
Yeah.
This is not an origin story. So it does not go into the whole, like, is she potentially a Greek god kind of thing? What's happening here? She is basically the owner of this company. They sell action figures and crime fighting tech. And she uses that tech, like you said, to go fight crime. But then she is specifically trying to take down Veronica Cale of, I think they said Cale something Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
And in the comics, if you did not know, Veronica Cale is the cheetah. They make a reference to that in the show. Like, man, this guy ran real fast. He must be one of Veronica Cale's. He ran like a cheetah. And it was just like, but there are so many. So yeah, she's trying to take down her because she thinks that Cale is experimenting on humans to create these like weird superhuman soldier type things here. And she's trying to take her down, knows she's doing it, but does not have the physical proof yet.
Yeah.
And so she does this like weird media blitz where she just blatantly accuses her and just starts drama on YouTube, right? And on the local news. And that's the plot. But some of the baffling things in this is not only the strange take on Wonder Woman. Like, I get where they're trying to go, like where they're coming from. 2011, I think the population is really starting to get into like feminist politics of like, maybe we should be treating women better in these TV shows. They don't always need to be the sidekick or the love interest. Maybe maybe JJ Abrams kind of had something with Alias back in the day, right?
Right.
Maybe we can do something more with that. But then Wonder Woman just has this kind of blatant disregard for the law. And like she catches this guy that she's chasing at the start. Completely knocks him around, which is what I expect from Wonder Woman. But when the cops show up, she's reluctant to give them to the cops and is like, no, if I give him to you, he'll just lawyer up. Which blatantly says, no, fuck your system. Like, I don't believe in that. Which is interesting. Sure, I'm actually kind of okay with her being like that, but in a strange way where she is also, I know the show would go down she lives in America, she is an American hero, like it would stick in that. It's just a weird thing,
right? If she was fresh off of the island and she's like, I don't understand your human laws, that's not how we do things on Themyscira. If it was like that and she's like, we don't have lawyers where I'm from, that's not how this goes, I know what justice is, I'd understand that approach. But it seems like she's always lived in Los Angeles. Like, we don't have a sense of how she got where she is.
Well, she did move there. There is the scene where you see her breaking up with Steve Trevor.
But where were they before? It's still also America, contemporary America.
I'm going to assume it's Boston, because that's typically where she is in the comics.
Okay.
As her, like, not hometown, but that's often where it's just like, oh, she's over there in Boston. But yeah, still, it's a little vague and ambiguous. And she definitely seems to have a disdain for the American legal system. We see her interact with it in multiple ways throughout the show, and she's always just kind of given a middle finger to the law, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's so bizarre that is her approach, that she's so refusing to cooperate with any sort of rules immediately. And Carrie Elways is in the show. Always a treat to see him. He plays her, like, the CEO, the person who's handling all the actual business of Themyscira Industries. And he's, like, trying to, like, make the company profitable. But he kind of has a point sometimes where he's like, you are risking so much going up against Veronica Cale. We have no proof for this. You can't just say things like that. That's slander. I know it's less good in your eyes if you just went around, like, saving cats from trees, but everyone can agree that it is good for you to save a cat from a tree. Could you do something? Can you calm down? Can you do something that we can sell to everybody, that everybody can relate to, that everybody can see as heroic?
Or at least work with the system so you do it right.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Like, no lawyer is going to you won't be thrown in jail because you saved a cat from a tree. Like, he's trying to get her to play by the rules, and you kind of see where he's coming from, where he's like, some of these rules exist for a reason. Like, people deserve to have lawyers. They have a right to have lawyers.
Yeah. She storms in the building where Veronica Cale is doing all the experiments, definitely kills multiple people, is trespassing, is, like, destruction of property, all that stuff. But hey, it all works out at the end because she found the sick people that they were experimenting on, right?
But there's
Veronica Cale will probably go to jail.
There's so many exposition news clips in this episode. We see, like, 20 different celebrity talking heads. Dr. Phil is here with something to say. And like, the episode ends with, she's, like, caught Pauline Kael. She's, like, exposed her scientific experiments. Pauline Kael's in jail, but the news is like, Veronica, sorry. Who's Pauline?
No idea.
But she, but the news is saying, like, Veronica Cale's lawyers hope to have her out of jail in the morning because there's none legal. Right, exactly. And so it is, like, it's a victory in her eyes, but to everyone else, to everyone in the public, it's like, your job's not done. Like, you didn't really do anything. Like, maybe you did. Maybe we know this lady is bad, but you can't, like, you didn't have a warrant to go in there. Like, that can't be held up in court. She will not legally be the bad guy.
And like I can see, like I'm actually okay with that idea if they explained it as such as she is new. She does not understand the system. She does not trust the system yet. And that is kind of the goal of the show, for her to slowly start to work more and more with them.
Yeah.
But that's a lot to explain for a pilot of which is also kind of the job of the pilot of like, is there some conversation with the police guy? Like, hey, like you should start working with us, and her considering it and like maybe one day, but not right now. Right. Like, but there's none of that. Strange.
Pauline Kael is a film critic.
Oh,
that's why that name's in my head.
So we mentioned the CEO. I at least have to mention a little bit more of the cast. If you did not recognize him, her liaison to the police department is a young Pedro Pascal.
I wondered if he was like this guy. There's something familiar about you.
It really is. He's younger. He's slimmer. He does not look like Pedro Pascal, like the one we know now.
Right. I'm like, is
wild.
I'm like, is this him or is this another guy with a very similar nose?
I've seen it before. I knew this going into it. I completely forgot that he was in this, and when he showed up, I was like, where do I know him?
Right.
I've seen him in something. Turns out it was another Wonder Woman movie, which he plays the villain in Wonder Woman 84.
Yes! Forgot.
So yeah, fun fact that he comes back with that. So that was interesting. Wonder Woman has her jet. It's not invisible, but it is a jet.
No.
Interesting choice. That she has a jet in here.
In Los Angeles.
yeah. That not much to say on that one, but we mentioned the CEO, who's, as you said, played by Carrie Elways, and they get into a discussion in one of the boardroom meetings as they're kind of discussing the new Wonder Woman action figure that's going out there, and I feel like this scene can kind of go either way. It's another one of those, like, I get what they're trying to do. I think they're on the right path. I don't know if it's the right way to handle that. So this new action figure is much bustier than the last. Much bigger boobs. And Diana is kind of taking offense to that, as she rightly should. But then she has the weird comment of like, I know that Amazonians are endowed with certain blessings. Okay, so they all do have big boobs then. What are you saying? Like, what's
I think
going on
she's
here?
like, you know, I have D cups. I don't have double D cups. I don't triple D cups. Scale it back. Like, make it like real. I'm already
proportional.
Right. I'm already an uncommonly shaped human being. You don't need to further exaggerate it. And they mentioned that the bigger boobed one sells better. And I really wish I had a sense of who is the target audience for Wonder Woman, the hero? Who is into Wonder Woman? Is it fanboys? Is it fangirls? Is it kids? Who likes her? Who is buying these things?
It's interesting, too, because it's something that the pilot would not have had time to mention. Historically speaking, like female superhero action figures don't sell at all. Like famously, that's why there was never Black Widow stuff when all the Avengers merchandise came out, because what's his name, who's not part of the Marvel movies, he was head of the TV, I forget his name.
Perlmutter.
Yes, he was just like, it won't sell, it won't work. we're not making it. Which is why we didn't get a Black Widow movie for so long, a Captain Marvel movie for so long. They're selling an action figure of Wonder Woman, and that's the best-selling thing. Interesting. Okay, I'm down to explore that. How did you make that work? Because historically, like, that's the opposite of what like nerd culture is used to, right? Or not even nerd culture, but are they playing on like celebrity culture? I guess so.
Yeah, it's I really want to know more about this world. Are there other superheroes in real life? Like, is there a Batman? Is there a Superman out there? And are there other superheroes in fiction? Were kids already buying action figures of some fictional superhero, and then that translated to them buying action figures of Wonder Woman? I'm trying to imagine it in our real world where, like, I don't know if there were, like, Simone Biles action figures, if they would be, like, a hot toy.
Yeah.
A person who we greatly admire. I don't know if people who admire that person are also like, I want an 8-inch plastic version of them, please.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing. But so in this confrontation that she has with her CEO, she starts getting very aggressive.
Yeah.
Which then Etta Candy says, or I think it was her that mentioned, like, oh, you just cussed twice or said some like vulgar thing. And that was like that was supposed to be the takeaway, that she was vulgar in the way she like was like, no, scale it back. Like, I'm not just a pair of tits, right? Like,
right.
I think maybe for 2011, like on a network television, that was maybe vulgar. To be honest, I was A-okay with that scene. I was like, yeah, she's justified. She's right. I mean, he's also right too, that this will unfortunately probably sell better because sex sells. We know that. But it just makes for this awkward scene of like, okay, is that the kind of company owner she is? Like, is she aggressive? Is that how they make so much money? Like, is she actually a like super smart business woman on top of this too? It's implied not. That she's like, she lets her CEO handle all of that stuff, so she doesn't even have to think.
Right.
It just sits in this weird place.
Yeah, we don't have a handle on, because we see her in so many scenes. We see her with Carrie Elways, who she has kind of an antagonistic relationship with, or we see her literally being a hero chasing down villains. So we don't see a lot of scenes where she is getting along with people. And it's hard to tell if that is just the antagonist she's coming up against, or is this a Wonder Woman who is just, but as her normal setting, very aggressive? Dude, what is that like? You know, why is she like this? You know, how popular is she? I also thought it was odd that when she saves the day and then she comes back to the business at the end of the night, everybody's there and they all clap and they're like, "We love Wonder Woman." And like, isn't she your boss? Don't you see her around the office? I know she did this like as Wonder Woman, but isn't it like, Diana, great job? Like, are you not on first name basis with her?
Right, yeah. Or at least like, Miss Themyscira, like, thank you. Right? Strange stuff.
Yeah, she felt very alien and like kind of unrelatable. Like, she goes and has this separate apartment. She's like, I want to live a normal life. I'm not staying here in the like, you know, penthouse that's attached to Themyscira Industries. Going to my other apartment so I can be normal and relatable. And I'm like, it's less relatable that you have two residences. Like, if you only had the one, even if it's super like swanky in a way I can't attain, at least you have one house like I do.
You're already probably a multimillionaire based off the stuff you have your own jet, like all of that stuff, right? You now have multiple houses. You're a superhero. Like, you're just adding more and more of things that you are not relatable.
Right. Dual identity is not a relatable thing. And she goes to this apartment. Like, she's got a cat named Sylvester. which I guess is like, did Warner, the Looney Tunes, part of the Warner Brothers family. But she's like, I'm going to set up a Facebook page. And I think this pilot was made in like 2011. Like,
Yes.
I was surprised that she did
2011.
not already have one. And then she like turns on the TV. She's watching. It's literally The Notebook. It's not like a Notebook type fake movie they made. It's literally The Notebook. They had the money to pay for The Notebook. And she's like crying, eating chips. She looks like a performance of this is what a normal woman is like.
Yeah,
normal woman
I'm
have
human
cat.
too.
Normal woman have snack binge. Watch Ryan Gosling.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of really strange, interesting choices in this. Of course, this is an unaired pilot, so it was not finished. There, especially in the fight scenes and stuff, you see all the wires still in there.
Yeah. There's one part early on. It's so weird. Like, it's part of the watermark at the bottom. It says effects to be added. Pants will be darkened.
Yes. So there's notes like that pop up every so often of like delete the wires or make the lasso golden instead of just like a rope.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's stuff like that. You get to see these unfinished effects. There are a few scenes that do have them finished. They're kind of whatever. I don't think they were anything spectacular, but again, you have to keep in mind network television pilot, right? So even if they were finished, maybe not the best that they were trying to do on that. Here's some interesting things about the pilot. Her CEO, his name changes a few times in the pilot.
What?
At one point they call him John. At one point they call him Henry. John Henry in DC Comics is a Superman character named Steel. John Henry Irons. Yeah, sure, they made that movie of him there. But then in this, his last name is Demeter. Or Demeter? Is he a god?
Oh my god!
Is that going to be a thing in there? Like, what's happening?
It would be so funny if he is also a god, but all he wants to do is be a businessman. I thought he was introduced as.
Excuse me. It was Detmer. Detmer.
I
still
heard him
in anagram, right? Of just like, Demeter. Whoever. Demeter's a woman, though, so I don't.
I heard him introduced as Henry Johns.
Yeah,
and I thought that's what his name was.
And there's this, there's that. It switches. They can't keep that consistent, which was interesting. Her outfit, Wonder Woman's outfit. There is that one scene at the start that you mentioned that it says, "Hey, darken the pants."
Too blue.
There's also scenes where she's not in the pants. But then the next scene, she is in the pants. Like her outfit, like it seems like they haven't decided if they want to give her pants or they want her in the like more swimsuit style. Like, let's show some leg here. That is interesting. Did you notice the choice of music?
Yes, I did.
I thought you might recognize it. There is a scene at the end, when Steve Trevor shows back up, it's revealed that he is this lawyer or whoever from the Justice Department that is basically coming to investigate. And he shows up, and it's this kind of emotional reunion, or it's supposed to be. And so they put some like emotional piano music in the background. It's the music from Lost.
Yes, that is Michael Giacchino's iconic Lost score. I recognize it anywhere.
Which is bizarre. Lost aired on ABC. This pilot was to air on NBC. So it's not like they just had this on hand because it's the same network and hey, we're just kind of filling things in here.
I know it is normal
Go ahead.
for pilots to have like scratch tracks. Like this is purely a placeholder. This is to give you a sense of the mood. Once this is clear to move forward, we're going to hire our own composer who's going to score everything. But I'm not a very score focused person. I'm not very musically minded. But I know the score from Lost. The score from Lost is like, it
so
feels
iconic.
Very recognizable to me. And the fact that they didn't pick music that was that could blend into the background a little bit more,
like,
that was more like
a song from another one of NBC's shows. They went to a different network's shows, which is interesting. It's also a DC Comics character, which is owned by Warner Brothers, who's kind of a rival to Disney, who owns ABC.
Right.
And nowadays they own Marvel. I don't know if they owned Marvel back then. I don't remember off the top of my head when that happened exactly. So it's not the like DC Marvel thing, but it is Disney and Warner Brothers, and I guess NBC thrown in the mix there. I don't know who they're owned by, but it's just strange. You'd think they'd either get something that's like copyright free or something they already had on hand, or
I don't know what the rules are. I don't know if you can just pick music anywhere if it's strictly like a pilot presentation that isn't going to air, that isn't a finished product, that is just going to be shown to executives.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like they probably wouldn't have the finished piece in there. This probably wasn't even the finished like scratch track of just like not even the real placeholder, but it's still just so bizarre to be sitting there and be like, that's the music from a Lost.
What is
happening here?
You wish you were lost.
strange stuff.
I do want to mention things that I think the show did well. I think Adrienne Palicki, who's vaguely familiar to me, I think she might have been on Supernatural or something in like the late 2000s. She definitely looks the part.
She ends up playing the character of Bobby Morse, aka Mockingbird, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Huh. Nice to have experience in both major comic book universes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's not exceptionally buff or muscular, but when you see her in the outfit with the hair, with that intense look on her face, it's like, that is a great Wonder Woman image.
Great smile.
Yeah. I like that. I think there's some nice looking sets. The apartment she lives in feels like kind of stagey, but maybe on purpose. Maybe she bought a fully furnished apartment and was like, I will live here like normal human. But I don't know, some of the sets around like the office and her private penthouse look cool. I like the logo, but I don't think the logo is right for the tone of the show. It looks like the perfect logo for a different Wonder Woman show.
That logo is bad. It is bad.
It looks like it's, I don't know. You're the graphic designer and I'm not, but I looked at it and I thought, that would be a really nice logo if this was a preteen aimed cartoon about Wonder Woman.
Sure. Yeah, it's more cartoony, it's more exaggerated than I think this is trying to be. Like, this plays it straight. This and is strange because it ends up being very cheesy because they do that. And I mean, Linda Carter's Wonder Woman was cheesy, but it knew that, and it used that in its favor. Whereas this feels like they're trying to do a modern take, a much more realistic take, and it's just like, what is going on here? God, when all the buff guys show up as the thugs.
Bunch of American gladiators. She has to fight her way through 20 American gladiators in some anonymous warehouse.
That they just like, all right, let's get the biggest, muscliest guys that we can find and just have them stand here. So funny.
The whole thing feels flimsy. It feels like when you were looking at a furniture catalog and there's an example of what a finished room could be, but it doesn't feel like any people actually live there.
Yeah. Kind of wild stuff.
But it was...
Last
It was
thing-
exciting to see.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I don't regret watching it. Like, I don't think it is the right take on Wonder Woman, but I do kind of appreciate that I got to see a take on Wonder Woman that is completely different from anything else I'm ever going to see.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be a series, but it's kind of an interesting thought exercise to watch how this could have existed for one episode.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting to experience.
Yeah.
Despite not really wanting it to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing I will say, so you asked the question of like, are there other superheroes that exist in this world? I think you can infer that maybe at least Superman exists. Only because there is a nod to him in this when she's meeting with the senator, I think, or it might have been Pedro Pascal's character. I don't remember. But they make a reference to the truth, justice, and American way, as if that is an actual thing that exists like that is maybe his catchphrase or something that Lois Lane must have wrote in the newspaper or something, right? Like it is a known thing. And so it's not exact proof that he's out there or is, out there in Metropolis, but it is like, okay, maybe we can imply that he is. So that's it. That's all. This is a weird one. Did not make it to air.
No, it shouldn't have been the take. No.
Yeah. Well, good stuff.
There
we go.
For next month's pilot, it is my turn to pick.
Mm-hmm.
We have just watched Wonder Woman, and next month we will watch the pilot episode of Small Wonder, which is a 1980s sitcom. We haven't done a sitcom yet.
Okay.
A 1980s sitcom about a family that takes home an eerie little robot girl.
Okay. Small Wonder. Interesting.
Small Wonder.
Oh, wait, small or mall? Like
Small Wonder.
Okay, small.
A wonder
as in,
that's
like,
little.
Size. Okay.
Yeah. She's like this little girl. She looks like a doll. She's wearing like a frilly dress. She has pigtails. But she looks so cute, but she has this very stern countenance like that. This is my personality. I am Vicky. I am a robot. I live with a sitcom family. And I found the pilot episode on YouTube, and I just watched the opening, and it's like, I can see where this was part of the pool of things that WandaVision pulled from. Interesting.
Okay. Good stuff. So that's on YouTube for everyone to check out. Cool. Perfect. Cool. Well, that's what we will do for this next month then. Small Wonder. Small Wonder or Wonders?
Small Wonder.
Just one
Wonder.
Singular.
And she is little.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. That is what we will do for next time. Thanks for checking out our Pilots Club. We will see you all then. Bye.
Bye.